Thank you so much for joining us on At Issue. I'm H. Wayne Wilson, and as usual, we have a half-hour discussion of something that impacts Central Illinois. We're going to be talking about sister city relationships with Peoria, but of course we know that those relationships extend beyond the borders of the city. And you'll be familiar with the names: Friedrichshafen, Germany; Clonmel, Ireland; Bengshi, China. Those are existing sister cities, but we're going to add one more real soon and possibly a fifth in the very near future. And we're going to discuss that with, first of all, let me introduce you to Simone Trod. Simone is the manager of the I2 Society out on Farmington Road.
Correct.
And was born in I2, Lebanon.
That's right.
So we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. Thank you for being with us, Simone.
Thank you.
Across the table from Simone is Patrick Urich. Many of you know him. He is the city manager for the city of Peoria. Patrick, as always, thank you.
Thank you, H.
And also joining us is Dick Kalanko, and he is the town clerk. That's the equivalent to city manager in the town of Jwaneng, Botswana.
Thank you, H.
A little geography lesson for our viewers. You're just north of South Africa.
Yes, sir.
And Jwaneng is in the southwestern portion of Botswana?
Correct.
And one more note, he may have come the longest distance of anybody who's ever been on At Issue. So thank you for the long trip. How many hours on the plane?
16 to 18 hours, actually.
18 hours?
18 hours.
18 hours.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about the possibility of a relationship, and you may be coming back multiple times, and so get used to the flight. First, let me start with Simone, because the I2 Society is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year.
That's right.
Why did it take 100 years for a sister city relationship to develop? We've been sister cities for so long, really.
Yes, really. We don't know why. Evidently, probably because what we're going to do as a sister city, we've been doing that all along. The people coming from I2 to Peoria, from Peoria to I2, and the relationship between here and I2 has been going on. I don't see, really, we don't know why. We never thought about this, but it came to our mind, just to be on the record, I guess. It came to us when we started preparing for our 100 years last year, and we said, we must take a look at why don't we request to be sister city and be official. We've been doing it all along, and that's.
Patrick, when will that happen?
Well, the City Council has passed a resolution to formalize that, and I believe that in July we're going to make that official, that we will have the sister cities relationship is formalized between both cities, and we're very excited about that.
But really, in essence, nothing will change. We've been having trips back and forth between I2 and Peoria for years.
That's absolutely correct. This is a formal designation of what is arguably our oldest sister city relationship that we have.
Correct.
And let me turn to Dick, and if indeed a sister city relationship does occur, and it looks like that,
yeah.
How did that come about?
Yes, we were advised as Jwaneng Town Council by Her Excellency, the Ambassador of the Republic of Botswana to Washington, about the existence of Caterpillar and, of course, Komatsu here in Peoria. And therefore, she thought it would be worthwhile trying to broker some working relationship with Peoria with a view to, having some mutual benefit between the two cities.
And the reason that Caterpillar and Komatsu are so important is because a lot of equipment is in Jwaneng.
Yes, we have plenty of equipment from here, from Caterpillar, especially in Komatsu, in our mining diamond, in our mining town.
And it's a diamond mine.
It is a diamond mine.
Is it the largest?
It is the largest by value in the world, okay. Yes. Okay. Yes.
So I can see why we want to have a sister city relationship.
Yeah.
Can we get some deals?
Yeah.
Now, it's owned, that's a government and De Beers joint venture, is that right?
True. So the venture is actually called Botswana. That is a venture between the Republic of Botswana and De Beers.
So obviously Caterpillar and Komatsu, but what other benefits do you see from a formalized sister city relationship?
We as Jwaneng see a lot more than the relationship which we may broker with Caterpillar, which we hope is going to exist. There are quite a lot of areas which we look at as viable areas for collaboration with the Peoria city. One, we're looking at the economic development, in particular here, the agricultural sector. We, back home, we have quite a lot of farming going around the Jwaneng town, and we see a similarity here. Just when we flew into Peoria, we could see quite a lot of farming activity around town, which we believe we could form some synergy of some sort and develop our communities.
There's a delegation here from Jwaneng. Where all have you been so far? You've been on a whirlwind tour. But.
We have. We've tried to give them a good taste of Peoria from a cultural standpoint, and also from an economic standpoint. We visited Jwaneng, Botswana in October. Had a wonderful visit. They were the most gracious hosts we could imagine. And from that, we worked on a document of areas of cooperation between both cities that we would want, that the Jwaneng Town Council would want to explore. That included areas of economic development, small business development. It included areas of social services and educating children with disabilities and treating children with disabilities. So we went to Easter Seals. We have been to the Jump Trading Center at OSF. We are going to take a tour of Komatsu, meet with Caterpillar at the Visitor Center, and have a half of a day with Caterpillar as well. But we've also spent some time on more municipal-related issues. We talked about fire services and the delivery of fire services and municipal waste management and how we handle our landfilling operations.
And let me turn to Dick again, because you met with PDC, who operates the city-county landfill, and Jwaneng has a municipally operated waste facility?
True, we have one, and we are in the verge of closing our only cell for the landfill. And what we have observed here is that Peoria City seems to be having a very effective waste management planning system, whereby they plan forward, and as a result, they don't get caught up in situations like it is most likely to happen back home. But we are so fortunate that 2 years from actually reaching that point already, we have friends who have progressed, and we hope to learn a lot from them like we have done already.
So planning in advance. We have 3 cells
we do.
Out at our facility.
Yeah,
so,
that's correct.
Let me talk a little bit of history. Before we talk about the benefits of the relationships, let me talk history. And I want to go back millennia to the Phoenicians, because really that's where a lot of the Lebanese, I mean, if you go back far enough, it was the Phoenicians in the Mediterranean.
Yes, that's where we originated from. The Phoenician.
And Byblos, I think, was the capital, in Tyre.
Yes.
And then once the Phoenician dominance kind of faded, people tended to go up into the mountains of Lebanon, and that's how...
Because the famine and because the war, and there are several things, and outside countries was taking Lebanon over during that time. And
so, who was the first to come to Peoria?
Tanus, I think.
Tanus Lahud?
Tanus Lahud, the one came to Peoria first. Then 2 others follow him right away. Then after that, the flock started coming over.
Back around World War I and right after.
Right. Mm-hmm. I think they came in late 1890 or late 1880, 89 or something.
Okay. So why is it that with just the arrival of 3 men in the late 1800s, and I understand there was a locust plague and things of that nature, but why was it that there was this influx of people from Aitu to Peoria?
Well, first they didn't come to Peoria. They came, the 3 men landed wherever the boat landed because the language barrier, they couldn't speak the language, and they landed in Buffalo, New York. And wherever that boat landed from Lebanon, that's where they were. Then they heard there's more opportunity for them in Peoria because the railroad tracks and other company here, which they heard that they don't have to communicate much. So they came, the 3 men, one of them first came to Peoria to check it out. And he got hired into the railroad track and a railroad company. Now at the time at the railroad company, what they found out that the easy job for them, it was a hard job, but the easy for them because communication, they put them on the fire chambers. Back in those days, used to run the railroad used to run on steam with coal. So they put them on a fire chambers. So when the engine stopped, they open the fire chambers, throw water in there, get all the fires out, all the old coal out, put new coal in, start it back up. So they don't have to communicate. I mean, they wouldn't have to talk or communicate every time they got to do something. It was a filthy, dirty job. It was a hard job, but
you didn't need to know English.
That's right.
So
that's the reason why they started in Peoria. They came to Peoria. Then they would send to the other people who was in Buffalo and somewhere else to come back because there's a better way. They don't have to go through the hoops and everything for language and all that. It's not easy. I've been through it. I hired in Iborcan Son when I came over here in 1970. And I couldn't speak one word of English. And I was put with 2 men in maintenance. And they were working on a machine. My uncle stayed with me for 4 hours. Then he left.
So you're on your own?
No, I'm my own. They asked me they needed something. They point out to me they needed something. And I had to go to the storage about 1.5 a block from where we were working. It's all outside. It was 25 below zero at that time. I looked at the job. I went to where where they had the stuff stored at. Brought them. I thought they needed rags, so I brought rags. They shake their head. I made 17 trips,
just for that,
and never got the job done. So at the 18th trip, one of the guys went with me to show me what they're talking about. So you could imagine.
So you needed to learn English, is what you're
right.
saying. Now, you don't have that problem because the official language of Botswana is?
It's English, yeah. It is English. Yeah, it's so unfortunate. My friend here went through that. Fortunately, with us in Botswana, we used to be a British protectorate, and for that reason, we got to speak English. We learned English, and most of us, quite a good population in Botswana, speaks English. Well, though not so fluently, but we do communicate. We communicate, I believe, effectively.
Yes.
Yes.
And you have a native language.
Yes, it's Tswana.
It's Tswana.
Okay.
It's Tswana,
yes.
So your history isn't anywhere near as long as I2.
No.
The Jwaneng, that is.
Yeah, no, not at all.
How did Jwaneng come about?
Yes, Jwaneng came about as a very interesting story. We exist primarily because there's a diamond mining going on in Jwaneng. The diamond deposits were discovered there around 1980s, and government had to bring in the public sector to facilitate the mining activity. So that is how we as Jwaneng came into being. But the government structure in Botswana is such that we have what we call local government, which I think you also have here. And for that reason, that is why council had to be there.
So we've had a little bit of history lesson. Let me get back to why sister city relationships. And Patrick, I'd like to talk to you about the 3 existing sister cities.
Yes.
Friedrichshafen, Clonmel, and Bengshi. What benefit has the city of Peoria and the central Illinois area gained from these relationships?
I think it's enormous benefits from a cultural standpoint, from a personal relationship standpoint, from an economic standpoint. It really has benefited us greatly in all of those fronts. From a cultural standpoint, there are connections between all three of our current sister cities and residents of Peoria here. So that has helped to encourage the cultural exchange between our two communities. From an economic standpoint, there are benefits of having those relationships to go back and forth between our countries and our cities and the businesses that we have in our communities. And then from a personal standpoint, it's enormously beneficial to those people that have been involved and engaged, that have come to both cities and have traveled back and forth. There's an ongoing relationship in Clonmel with Jimmy's Bar on Farmington Road, where they currently will have trivia nights every once in a while, where they will Skype in between the two communities and have a trivia contest half a world away. It's remarkable, and that personal connection is immeasurably rewarding.
I've been to Clonmel, and I've been to Jimmy's Bar too. The one thing I tell you about Clonmel, and I haven't been to the other sister cities, but I do know that the friendships that exist are phenomenal. Yes. The strength of those friendships. One of the things you talked about was cultural, and I'd like to extend that a little bit to the educational and the social service aspect of this. I know you visited Easter Seals.
Yes.
Why was that?
The main reason, as we were working on the areas of cooperation, is the fact that Jwaneng has a children's center, and many of the children that are in the children's center in Jwaneng have disabilities or are orphans, and some of the issues that they're facing are issues that maybe through best practice sharing between our two communities, we can help to provide a better opportunity for those children that are in the Children's Center. And that's the one area that we really wanted to spend some time with Steve Thompson at Easter Seals and their staff and see the operation.
So I know it was a short visit, but did you pick up any benefit from that visit to Easter Seals that might be able to transfer to your facility?
A lot, sir. We were shown around the facility, lectured on the various therapies which are offered there, which I believe we could immensely benefit from such if we have exchanges in information and best practices. So the management there has indicated willingness to exchange with us in terms of how they do things, and of course we couldn't go to the extent of talking resources exchange, because as we learn, they are also a private entity which is non-profit making, and therefore you would not expect more from them other than information exchange, which to us is quite important. Because we believe that would assist us a lot in terms of improving on our service delivery to our clientele.
But there might be benefit long-term in that you could Skype back and forth when you have particular issues?
Exactly that.
And because of the friendship that was built up over time. Oh, hi, Dick. Yeah, and et cetera.
Exactly that. Yeah. We could benefit a lot in that sense.
Let me talk about I-2, and just for your benefit, I-2 in Peoria is spelled I-T-O-O. You probably know that. But in Lebanon, the name of the town is spelled A-Y-T-O-U. The French influence?
French influence.
Right? French influence.
That's correct.
Now, there are about how many people in central Illinois who are of Lebanese descent?
About 6,000.
6,000. But the population of I-2 Lebanon is?
We're now 350 in the wintertime, and we think in summertime about 750.
So there are many more people of Lebanese descent who are here.
That's correct.
And yet this small town.
The small town.
So what benefits might a town of 350 receive from this sister city relationship?
Well, we're looking, and we have not gone far in this, but we're looking at just not the I-2, as just the Lebanese community as a whole. And you know, we live in North Lebanon, and it is a huge The benefit we think, the only thing I could think the benefit would be the student exchange which we had a student come from I2 to here, to Bradley, go back to the early 60s, but the student from here to Lebanon is not that much. And I think that's what we're going to benefit from there. And we're going to benefit over there in Lebanon, the relationship with the student exchange, that's what we believe.
Patrick, let me ask you, from our perspective, what is that relationship going, is it going to change much other than what he's already mentioned?
I think that if there are opportunities, as Simone said, about being able to do more educational exchanges, that would be wonderful to be able to do that, to more formalize a relationship with other business areas within Lebanon would be wonderful to be able to do that. And I think that as by having a formalized relationship with I2 and with the larger Lebanese community, I think that we can certainly look at that and grow that relationship.
And I know that when you're talking about a town of 350 and it's up in the mountains, and it's agricultural in nature?
Agricultural in nature.
There are limited possibilities just because of size.
That's right.
But yet you feel that there will be a benefit by formalizing this relationship.
Absolutely.
What is the primary agriculture?
It's agriculture. It's an olive farms, apple farms, pears, and vegetarian.
But you do this on the mountainside.
Oh yes, and we have to build.
You terrace
yeah.
And there's not much dirt on mountains, I think.
No, there's not much. There's none at all. We have to bring dirt in
And Dick, your agriculture is what, basically?
We are predominantly a cattle rearing country. And that is where our strength is. And I believe, yes, I'm correct, that comes that agriculture in terms of contribution to the GDP after, of course, diamond and the tourism sector. So that is just one area which from long time ago Botswana was reliant upon, and what is of concern now is we seem to have shifted our focus to the diamond industry. But remember, diamonds are not forever. We should start, looking back and say, where did we come from? What used to be our strength? Are there any opportunities of us reviving such sectors as agriculture? And like I earlier said, our belief is that yes, with the relationship which we hope to broker with Peoria, we may have to borrow a leaf from them and revive our agricultural sector.
I want to point out that he did say diamonds are not forever.
Yes, diamonds are not forever, true.
So the formal signing is when for I2 in Peoria?
Formal signing is going to be July 6th at the I2 Hall at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to have an open house for a 100-year celebration at 2 to 5. And at 2 o'clock, that's the formal signing going to be between the mayors. They're going to sign. The mayor from I2 will be here, and with the mayor of Peoria, Mayor Ardis will be there, and that's the formal signing.
And the Maronite bishop will be here?
The Maronite bishop, Bishop Alwyn, will be here. The priest, the pastor of the I2 Lebanon will be here. So there's several people going to be here.
Okay, so July 6th is the formal signing, and we'll have our fourth sister city, although, as you mentioned earlier, maybe considered the first.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the prospect of a formal relationship between Jwaneng, Botswana, and Peoria, Illinois?
The prospects are quite high. Having held discussions so far and having been taken around, I just don't have any doubt that hopefully tomorrow, Patrick, we are signing a memorandum of understanding.
Is that right?
We are. We're going to be looking at tomorrow evening, signing a memorandum of understanding. Her Excellency, the Ambassador Seretse, is coming in from Washington, D.C., and it will really be a charge of saying, here are the areas we're going to continue to cooperate with.
Yes. All right, and with that, I want to say thank you to all of you. To Simone Trod, who is the manager of the I2 Society, and this is your first generation in America.
That's correct.
Coming in 1970 from I-2 Lebanon, and to Dick Kalankel, who is the town clerk for the town of Jwaneng, Botswana. Let's hope that it moves forward. I look forward to a fifth sister city with
pleasure,
Peoria.
sir.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.
And I need to do this. Hold on just a moment here. I said thank you in English. So in Setswana, the second language of Botswana, Kiala Boga. Kiala Boga. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
And Patrick, as always, thank you. And I didn't even ask you any tough questions about city management.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that.
Wait, we're going to have him back on this coming September. We'll have the mayor on, I'm sure, because we are done for this season of At Issue. We'll be back in September with the 27th season of At Issue. I promise you, Patrick Urich will be one of my guests. We'll see you then. Have a nice summer.